Well, hello everybody. This is Linda from North Central Texas. I decided I was going to make some pizzas today, so I thought I'd bring you on board and let you see how I make my pizzas. When I make pizzas, I usually make 2 at a time because my recipe is, if you want to know how I make my dough, I take 2 cups of flour, self-rising flour, and I use 1 package of fast-acting dry yeast. And then you can either add water or you can put milk to mix up your batter. Anyway, I mix it up. You can let it rise a little bit. And then you can either roll out your dough with a rolling pin, which that is the easiest way to do it. Just roll it out like you would a pie crust. Or either you can shape it out with your hands. I've never been very good at shaping it out with my hands. So I usually just roll it out with a rolling pin, get it to the size of my pan, and then I just transfer it from my counter over to my pan. And with this one, I'm using a lot of stuff out of the garden, like eggplant. I'm going to peel this eggplant. I've got garlic out of the garden, onions, bell pepper that I've already chopped up to save time. But I didn't get around to doing this eggplant, so I need to peel it. But I didn't have any tomato sauce that I had made from the garden, so I'm going to use a can of pasta sauce. It's only about 40 cents a can. I mean, something like that. It's real cheap. But I get the kind that has basil, garlic, and oregano in it. So, and like I say, it's real cheap. It's just paste, tomato paste. It gives it a really good flavor when you get the kind that already has oregano and stuff in it. And I'm going to try to slice this real thin. Yeah, I bet you never thought about putting eggplant on your pizza. And it's got so many seeds in it. Smells almost like a green apple when you're cutting or slicing it. And I've already got my oven preheating. And the trick to making pizza at home is get that oven as hot as you can get it. I've got mine all the way up on like 500, so. Yeah, usually if I'd make a pizza, I make 2 pizzas at a time. Even though I know I'm not going to eat 2 at one time, I'll go ahead and make it. And then I usually freeze one. But I put half the can of tomato paste on one, half on the other. And that's usually plenty to go on these pizzas. Because when I make my tomato sauce or my homemade paste, I usually put a can of this in it anyway. And it's only a 6-ounce can. But I tell you, it's well worth using it if you don't have your own tomato sauce that you've made. And like I said, this time I didn't have any on hand because what containers that I had made the beginning of the summer, I've already used, I think. I think maybe I've got 1 left in there. And I made spaghetti yesterday or last night, but I just went out to the garden and picked whatever tomatoes was ripe, you know, the little cherry and grape tomatoes, and got those things peeled. And there's a trick to peeling them. I don't know if y'all know. If you take a ripe tomato and put it in a pot of just steaming hot boiling water. I mean, don't have it on the flame, but just let them sit in that steaming hot scalding water for a few minutes. And it'll make that skin just separate right off of that tomato. That's a trick I learned from my mom, because she canned so many tomatoes when I was a kid. You had to know a lot of tricks to making things easier for yourself. You see, that half a can covered that pizza. And I'm going to do the other one the same way. So that's 3 ounces of tomato paste on each one. And that's one reason I make 2, is if I'm going to open a can of tomato paste and I know I'm not going to use the other part of it right then, I'll just go ahead and make 2 pizzas, because I don't want to put a whole can, a whole 6 ounces of tomato paste on one pizza. Yeah, and I usually cook all my own food, so I come up with a lot of tricks. I mean, anytime you come in my kitchen, you'll probably see dishes in the sink, but it's probably clean dishes. I do wash them up, but you'll probably see dishes in the drainer draining that are clean. Because I cook my own food. I rarely go out to eat. I don't like to go out by myself, for one. And going out, you can't afford to go out. I mean, food prices are so unreal. I mean, I could go to McDonald's once in a while through their drive-thru and pick up a burger, but I tell you, it's got so most people can't even do that anymore. There, that's got that little bit of... Yeah, it's real easy to make the pizza dough. You can just, like I said, use 2 cups of flour, self-rising flour. Have a little bit left, to be able to mix it up so it's not sticking all to your hands. See, I need to get my cheese. And I use just, well, that's Parmesan cheese there. I'll put that on there too, but I need the mozzarella cheese. I forgot to get that earlier. And see, the thing about making your own pizzas, you put what you want to on them. Nothing's cooperating with me today. And when you make your pizzas, you can put any, you know, basically as much cheese or as little as you want on your pizza. Put any kind of cheese on your pizza that you want. I like to use mozzarella cheese. I do use Parmesan sometimes. I think I always put Parmesan on the top of it. And I'm going to try a little bit of ricotta cheese since I've got some of that. Just a little bit. Spread it around. Be a different kind of pizza. Not just all mozzarella. And I'm doing that because I already had it. I didn't buy it especially for this. I think I bought it for another dish that I was going to make. And I haven't made it since I bought the cheese. I mean, sometimes people just put plain tomato sauce and maybe a little bit of cheese on it. That's up to you. You can go as crazy as you want to with your pizza when you make it. Like I said, you can put anything you want on your pizza when you make it. Now I'm going to go around with a little bit of this eggplant. It's already turning. It's just another way to use vegetables out of the garden. And I'm not going to put too much on each one, but you saw the size of the eggplant. It wasn't very big. But it is another way to use up some eggplant in your garden. And I'm going to put a little bit of chopped garlic. This is fresh garlic right out of the garden. Normally, everything that I'll use would have been out of the garden except the cheese and the flour, of course. And I love garlic, so. Now I'm going to put onion, chopped white onion. Because I love onions on my pizzas. I ordered a pizza years ago. Because I didn't feel good, didn't want to cook nothing. And when I went to pick it up, well, I ordered a pepperoni pizza. They got my order mixed up with somebody. And I didn't check it till I got home. And when I got home, it was a pizza with cheese, tomato sauce, and it just had a pile of chopped white onions and garlic. I looked at it and I thought to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? I don't want this stuff. You know, but I felt so bad. I didn't feel like calling and complaining. I didn't feel like going back out there to change it. Oh, I'm putting my chopped bell peppers on here now. So I just started eating it. And you know what? It was actually good. Because I love the ingredients that was on it. You know, I always loved garlic and onions. I mean, those are some of my favorite foods. I mean, it might give you bad breath, but I love both. And I include onions and garlic in just about everything I cook. But you know what? They had put so much garlic and onions in it. And I know there's a lot of home remedies for colds and flu that are made with just onions and a lot of garlic. And do you know, by that night I started feeling better, and by the next day I was completely better. Now, I'm not saying it was all the garlic and stuff, but I don't think it hurt. Because I've made my own cough syrup out of nothing but onions and honey. You cook the onions in water and honey until they're just about cooked to nothing. And then you use that juice just like you would any type of cold medicine. And I'm putting pepperoni on it now. I love pepperoni. And you'll say, well, you got a lot of stuff on this pizza. Yeah, I do. I tend to go overboard when I fix pizzas because usually when I eat pizza, that's going to be my only meal. I mean, that's all I'm going to eat for that meal. I mean, I'm not going to eat a big salad or anything like that. So I want a lot of stuff on my pizza. And like I said, when you fix your own pizza, hey, you can put whatever you want on there. As much as you want or as little as you want. It's totally up to you. But I think that looks good. Actually, the little bit of heat coming from that oven in this kitchen is actually feeling pretty good. It's been rainy all day and a little bit cooler, and of course it got down in the 50s last night. I mean, it's comfortable outside, don't get me wrong, it's not cold. But with it rainy, it's just chilly. And to have that oven on right now, it just feels good in here. You know, I've got enough in there to fix some more now. And I didn't tell you, if you want, you can put like Italian seasoning, stuff like that in your dough when you make your pizza dough. You can flavor it up any way you want. I'm going to put just a little bit of salt, not much. Because I think that's one thing I always loved about the pizzas that you bought in the restaurants is you don't realize it, but they're so salty, they're good. That's why you're always so thirsty. And I'm also going to drizzle just a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to try to close up the hole just a little bit so I can sprinkle some on. Because I don't want too much. But I like I like to sprinkle olive oil on mine. It helps it cook. And I do grease my pan with olive oil to put my pizza dough in the pan. The old-timey recipes for pizza, they didn't even use meat. I mean, they came up with pizza as a cheap, easy, non-expensive meal because it was filling. Usually everybody liked it, and it was cheap. So, years ago, they only used, like, their tomato sauce. They may even add slices of tomato on top. And a little bit of cheese. And if they had bell peppers and stuff like that, of course, they would add that. And since I've already got my oven heated up, I'm going to come over here and put both of them in my oven. And you only have to cook them for like 10, 15 minutes, something like that. I mean, it's real quick. And my pans are not going to cooperate. I think I'm going to put one on the bottom. One on the bottom and one on the top so they don't lap over one another. See what time it is. Basically, you just check them every once in a while to see that they're getting brown. And they don't burn on you. Yeah, it usually only takes about 10 or 15 minutes to cook your pizza, if you have your oven hot. And I found too, if you don't have your oven hot enough, a lot of times your pizza comes out soggy. And I don't think anybody wants soggy pizza. I know I don't. I'm going to sit down here a minute. I tried to clean my mess up a little bit as I was going, so. Oh. Yeah, I'll keep my eye on the clock. And, hope my camera doesn't turn off. I still got my canner sitting on the stove because I wasn't sure if I was going to need it again. And I said, well, I'm just going to leave it set there. I cleaned it and put the rack inside it and all that. And I've just left it sitting on the stove. Because I said, just as sure as I go to the trouble to put it away, I'll be digging it back out because I've got something else I want to, you know, put in the canner, so. But I look a mess this morning. Or today, it's 3 o'clock or so. I look a mess. My eyes are swollen. And I didn't plan on doing this till the last minute, so I've just got my hair pulled back. And didn't really get dressed, you know, or fixed up for the video, so just don't mind me. My eyes are terrible. I mean, I hate it that they're swollen like that all the time. They never used to do that. But living here in Texas for so many years, I'm just so allergic to everything. Plus, I've gained some weight because I used to be a little skinny thing. And, well, I went through a cancer scare about 15 years ago or so. They diagnosed me with invasive ductal carcinoma. Gave me 3 years to live. Put me through chemo. Put me through surgery. Knocked out my immune system. And the doctor kept putting something in that medicine bag that went into my system to make me gain weight because she said I was too thin. She told her assistant that she wanted me to gain weight. Well, I gained weight. And I've gained way too much weight that I can't get rid of. And no sleep and all the aggravation that I've been through for the last 7 years hasn't helped. Because I'll get up in the middle of the night and eat a snack rather than being in the bed asleep. But when I went in for my 6 weeks checkup after my surgery with my surgeon says, we need to talk. Well, I couldn't imagine what in the world she was talking about. And we didn't go in the exam room. We went in her office and sat down and talked. And she said, you don't have cancer. I said, what? She said, you don't have cancer. She said the pathologist looked and re-looked and did everything he could do to find cancer cells in the breast tissue that they took. There was no cancer there. It was exactly what I told them. I had a lump in my breast, and it was a fibrocystic cyst, and they wouldn't believe me. They sent me in for the biopsy. The ones that did the biopsy diagnosed me with invasive ductal carcinoma and proceeded to put me through all that. Well, I let her talk me into after surgery to go in to do preventive chemo. Well, the first time I went in, I almost passed out. Well, they sent me to a heart doctor after that. And I knew I had a heart murmur. I've had it all my life. And the doctor said, you don't need any more chemo. You don't need any of this stuff. He said, if you do any more chemo, he said, you're going to be back in here and you're going to have heart valve surgery because that chemo is going to eat it up. And he said, if you don't have cancer, you don't need to do all that. Well, my surgeon told me the same thing. She said, you do not need to go in for radiation. You do not need chemo. You do not need any of that because you do not have cancer. Well, after that, I refused any more treatment. I went in for checkups regularly. They were always, you know, showed negative. I didn't have any cancer, not in my blood or anything. And the oncologist even said, anybody with stage 4 invasive ductal carcinoma, what they diagnosed me with, would have had cancer cells in their bloodstream. I never had cancer in my bloodstream. That should have been a clue right there. And the chemo never shrunk the tumor. And that's why she said she wanted to do the chemo first because it would help shrink the mass before they did surgery. Well, it didn't shrink it at all. Didn't phase it because I didn't have cancer. So I refused it all, and I spent over the last years, ever since then, taking tons of vitamins, building my immune system up so I can even go out in public, which now it doesn't bother me. I don't get sick. I think I caught COVID and I had it for maybe 3 hours and shrugged that off. That's how much I built my immune system up. I got to check my pizza. But I just thank God. I said, well, if I don't have pizza, if I don't have cancer, I don't have it. And I'm not questioning it. I'm just going with it. And I thank the good Lord I don't have cancer. And I'm hoping my camera does not cut off before my pizza gets done over here. I mean, it's almost, but it's got to brown up some more. Yeah, so I feel for anybody that goes through what I did. I mean, I wonder after that, how many people were diagnosed with all different stages of cancer and went through their chemo and the radiation and all of that stuff and never had cancer. Because I didn't. I didn't have cancer. I didn't need all that stuff. And then she wanted me to put me back in there for another whole year of chemo and radiation. Well, my God, the cancer wouldn't have killed me if I'd have had it. All of their treatments would have. I'd be dead right now if I'd have continued on for the next year going through chemo and radiation the way that doctor wanted me to. I flat out told her, I said, well, do you want a year preventative chemo and radiation? She says, no, I don't have cancer. I said, well, I don't have it either, so I'm not going to have the treatment. And I didn't. And I'm still here today, 15, 16 years later, with no cancer. So, praise God for that. I've got swollen eyes and I gained a ton of weight, but I'm alive. And I'll never forget one thing she told me when they first started giving me chemo and want me to gain weight. She says, well, it doesn't matter what you look like if you're alive. I thought to myself, well, yeah, it does. You know, I mean, people don't want to gain tons of weight if they don't have to. I mean, I spent my whole life being a small person. I weigh more right now than I have in my whole life. And I only, you know, I was a tiny thing when I went in and started all those treatments. It was after I did all those treatments that I gained a ton of weight because she was giving me something to cause me to gain weight. I mean, you got to speak up for yourself. You know, you go to the doctor and they tell you got problems. You need to get second and third opinions on that. I'm a firm believer of that now. Because if I'd have went maybe to several other places and got second or third opinions, I might have found out right then I didn't have cancer. And it would have saved me a lot of headaches. But I tried to tell him it was fibrocystic cyst. Oh no, we got to do a biopsy. We got to find out. Well, somebody screwed up. And they screwed me up in the process. And to top it all off, my surgeon mentioned to me, well, she said, you're not the one we're after anyway because your breast is not that big. So they were after some woman that was really big-breasted, not me. So I advise anybody out there, if you're diagnosed with anything, question it. Don't just take the doctor's word for it. You question it. You get second or third opinions. Make sure of what you got before you let them do anything to you. Couple more minutes and I'll have my pizzas out of there. I'm sorry about that, y'all. I mean to get on there and rant about my medical history. I don't even know why I started talking about it. I guess because I don't like my weight. I don't like weighing this much. But you know, things happen in your life that you can't control sometimes. And you believe what people tell you because you don't know why they would lie to you or tell you something untrue. But I know the one that did the biopsy made a big mistake. They either got records mixed up with someone else or something happened because I didn't have the cancer that she said I did. I lost all my hair. I used to have really thick, curly hair. I lost all my hair, and only about half of my hair came back. And I said, well, I got to thin it out, that's for sure. Can't say that my hair's too thick anymore. I mean, I got plenty of hair. It's just not as thick as it used to be. I mean, I had hair so thick, I'd try to pull it up my ponytail, and it was sometimes almost impossible. It would just curl around the band and go to my head rather than hang down behind my head. But anyway, I hope y'all are having a fantastic day today, because my day is great. I'm loving the rain. I mean, I know it's a gloomy day because there's no sunshine out there, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the rain because we desperately needed so much rain. And like I said the other day, when your greenhouse doesn't produce moisture because the ground underneath it is so dry that it absorbs every bit of the moisture that comes up, you know you need rain. My pizza's done. Woo. And I don't even have my light on over the stove. But don't they look good? They're too hot for me to try to cut right now, so I'm going to refrain from doing that. And I'm not going to try to take a bite to show you how good they are, because I don't want to burn my mouth. But let's see. But see how good the crust comes out underneath there when you turn that oven up. So just turn your oven up as high as it'll go. And see there? That's a good crust under there. It's cooked. Well, with that, I guess I'm going to bid you a farewell today. I'm going to enjoy a slice of pizza when it cools off. And I hope y'all try it. Make you a pizza. See how it turns out. You might surprise yourself. And I like the thin, crispy crust. And like I said, I just roll it out with a rolling pin like you would a pie dough. Sometimes I've tried to stretch it out in the pan and it just fights against me. So I just rolled out. And I mean, see, it's kind of thick around the edges, but that's okay. No problem with that. Well, try you a pizza, y'all. I think you might surprise yourself. You might like it. You might enjoy making your own homemade fresh pizzas from scratch. And with that, I'm going to bid you a farewell. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. And y'all have a blessed day.